What did we think then of this game? Because obviously at half-time we were quite critical of France, right, Troy? The second half you were impressed?
Yeah. A lot better, a bit more shape. Olise got more into the game. They started getting him in that 10 position. He was being more forceful. And the biggest thing when you see all of the goals, runners in behind. Everyone was a slid pass. And Senegal in the first half, they were able to see the game in front of them where you want it, able to go and press. But then this time now you've got runners coming in behind, in between the lines. And when they do that, to Grella's point earlier, better athletes, quicker. Mbappe's first goal was a nice finish. Again, the pass from Olise is frightening. And they just got better. The confidence grew instantly as soon as they scored one.
They had to have a reaction. They had to have a reaction in the second half, and we saw that with how they played and how they started that second half. And without regurgitating what Troy just said, that's what it was. They'll be a lot more aggressive, taking people on, winning runners. Olise got a lot more involved in the second half compared to the first half, and they had to show that. And you talk about the quality off the bench, but I think the biggest story obviously is this guy here, Kylian Mbappé, for me. It didn't have a great first half, had bad touches, wasn't involved, just looked like he wasn't really interested. But when you're a world-class player, that's what he can do. When the moment steps up, those big moments, debatable whether he should have had a penalty. I think personally it was a penalty in the game, but he scores two great goals there, and the story is going to be all about him and not about the first half, that where he probably was more of a problem for France than he was of any kind of positive language that you could use for him.
Mbappe at a World Cup is just scary. At 27 years old, he's France's top goal scorer. He's got more goals at a World Cup than Messi. He's got 14. Messi has 13. He's 2 away from Miroslav Klose's record. He turns up in the big moments.
We think he's going to break.
This is exactly what I was saying before about Mbappe and World Cups. We've seen this since he was 18 years old and he burst on the scenes. Yes, he had a very poor first half, but this is what champions do. And I think he's got that chip on his shoulder. Everything that happened with PSG winning 2 Champions Leagues, everything that's been said about Real Madrid, whose team is this, where is he going to play right now? He put in a top-class second half by his standards, and he wants to lead this team once again. He tried to drag them in the final last time by scoring a hat-trick. I'm just incredibly impressed by the way that he turns up in the highest pressure moments from France. There's certain players that in the difficult ones, when they put on their country jersey, the shirt is too heavy. He is the opposite. It's like a superhero cape for him. You just get the best out of him.
I think people get confused between playing well and winning games. You don't always have to play well to win games. Arsenal's a perfect example this year, right? I don't know how many good games they played from start to finish where they dominated the game, but they still won the Premier League, right? And France didn't play well in the first half. They didn't play it's not like they played much better in the second half, but the margins in a tournament football like this is like Koulibaly on both goals. We'll take a look probably in the tactical later, but both goals, Koulibaly's just a yard off, where he hesitates for a split second and he's a yard off. So a yard off and a second. And the 2 goals come from that. He hesitates for once. Those are the margins when you play against France. So they had the luxury, because of the players that they have and the talent level that they had the luxury of not playing well. And still, if you make one mistake, because Koulibaly probably was really good most of the game, but then made 2 missteps, and boom, bang, bang, 2-0. And Senegal's probably thinking, what happened here? Because they probably did everything they wanted to do. They played well start to finish, matched them physically. Didn't get the goal at the first half. I thought they kind of know that's the big moment for them, because they go into the half leading 1-0. Then now all of a sudden they can sit a little deeper. But those are the margins when you play against France, when you play against Spain. Yeah, I know they draw the other day, but it's going to be a step here and a step there. And that's why, although you can play great for 90 minutes, the wrong step, boom, you're out of the game.
It's such a good point, because France and Spain, they're the bookies' favourites, aren't they, Nigel? Is it too early to read into what sort of World Cup both of these teams are going to have, and if they're going to meet those expectations after the first match? Yeah,
it's definitely still too early. I think France had the luxury of playing after Spain played, and what we saw with Spain. And again, like we said, it wasn't a great first half for them, but we also discussed at half-time that chance that Sarr didn't score could probably come back and haunt them in this game. And that's exactly what it is. And exactly what Grella just explained there, that's the differences. When you talk about top-level teams and top players, played in many games where I've played against world-class players, and then you start to think to yourself, oh, they haven't done nothing today. And guess what? That 1 minute, the 2 touches they have, they score, put the ball in the back of the net. Next day, all the newspapers talk about him, because that's why he's world-class and that's why he's a top player. They didn't affect the game for 90 minutes, but when that moment came, he took it. And that was what Mbappé today. And what I would say sums him up most was probably his second goal. It's a great strike, but when you look at that goal again, when I think it's Olise gave up on the play because he wanted to get the foul, he ran back, got the ball after the game just turned 2-1 and absolutely just rifled it into the top corner. That is what top-class players can do. That's why...
No, go ahead, after you.
I was going to say, I think that's why he's so frustrating. Because he shows you he can grab a game by the scruff of the neck and go, give it me, and turn, hit a ball from 35 yards into the top corner. Not saying you have to do that every time, obviously score in the top corner.
100%.
But taking the game by the scruff of the neck because he felt slighted there. The game gets to 2-1, a couple of minutes left, anything could happen. He's like, no, I'm not letting that happen.
Yeah.
And that goes to your point earlier about the brilliance of the man, but the frustration with Real Madrid fans, with PSG fans, with arguably Monaco fans is you don't do that enough. To be the level of the superstar that we all believe you can be, you could do that more, and that's the bit he leaves you. You've done it again, you dropped that.
Leave me alone. To a certain degree, I agree with you. But again, this is what we say football is an art. It comes to the management aspect, because we're all sitting there saying, would Deschamps be brave enough to take off Mbappe? Like, he's having such a bad game. If it was anyone else, they'd probably been taken off. And I said, you can't do it, because you know he's capable of these moments. We might not see as much as we would love to see. We might not see it in a dominating effect as we know he can do it. But he just showed what he can do. And the reason why Deschamps still trusts him and believes in him as a player. And when he scores that goal, who does he run to? The manager, Didier Deschamps. He runs and celebrates with his manager, because there is that extra personal touch. There is that, OK, you might not have the best of games, but I still know and I believe in you as a player. When that moment comes, he's going to make something happen. And that's what sums up today.
The biggest thing to answer your question, Poppy, on paper, France is the best team. They have more depth than Spain do as well, because we saw when Yamal was not there and Nico Williams was not there, we saw that they lacked that pace in the wings. For me, the biggest question mark about France coming into this tournament was the personality clash. And when you want to win a World Cup, you need the group. You need to have everyone that's together, that's humble, that works. There's a lot of players that have been in these last two finals because they made the 2018 final, 2022 final. Can they still be motivated? That's my question. It's not on the talent end. And they reacted after a really bad first half against one of the best teams. Reminder, this is a Senegal that everyone was talking about. People saying dark horse, they could go and win it all. That's the conversation around Senegal. So they showed me a lot in the reaction in the second half, and that is the question mark around
Win all of what? The World Cup?
There's people that say it, not me, but people say they could go all the way.
Who?
Senegal.
I want to know all 5 people that you know who said that. They'll be great. They can do a good run, maybe have a Morocco-style run, but you get to semi-finals. To win it, the stars would have to align for that to happen.
Either way, if we're talking about semi-finals, you're talking about top 4 teams.
Of course,
Right?
they're a very good team.
They're a good team that can go deep in this competition.
But I'm not saying, I don't think anyone should be saying that they can win it. I think that's totally unfair. But the other part to it as well is the difference between this French team and the Spain team, and this is why I think they're the favourites, is because they had a poor game. They win 3-1. They could go away from the game going, OK, we know we can be resilient now. We could go through a tough first half. We know we played a much better team, so we know where our benchmarker is. Also, our guys are scoring. So there's so many more positives. You're Spain, with the greatest respect to Cape Verde, it's like, OK, we should be beating these every single time.
It feels more problematic.
Yeah, we dominated the ball, but we didn't really create any clear-cut chances. We haven't scored. We don't know how fit Nico Williams or Lamine Yamal is. He gets into this situation where you start to go, oh, hold on. Are we as good as we think we are?
Well, no one had Spain sitting here as the favourites over France.
They were bookies' favourites.
They were the
bookies'
I have Spain to win.
Did you have Spain to win?
I have Spain to win.
Oh,
still.
you still do? Yeah. OK, that's surprising.
You understand my point, though, where I'm coming at, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The rest of us have France, right?
I picked France. I just think that, again, the luxury that France has, the squads, the people and players who can come off the bench and affect it, in what we saw today. And again, with Spain, I think Spain become very one-dimensional. Now, when we saw from Spain in that game against Cape Verde, it's the fact of the reliance of Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. If they don't have wingers who can take people on, we're going to go back to see the Spain before these 2 youngsters were introduced into the team. Very predictable, very safe, playing in the middle of you. If you can be organised, you will stop them from creating things.
It's so true, because we also spoke, obviously, a lot about the depth of this French team. We all picked Mbappé, or 3 of us had Mbappé to score today. Who had Olise? Because his SofaScore numbers are in, Troy. Pretty impressive what he was able to do as well.
Yeah, again, much better in the second half than he was in the first. Again, the heat map suggests. Look, I don't like when he's at a 10. I like the fact that he's free and he can go wherever he wants. I don't like if you're looking at the lower part of the graphic where he's getting the ball in his own half. I think with the players that they've got better players that can give him the ball in the tougher areas. He did that in the second half, and then the dribbling, the shooting, the passing was all better. But Nigeria holding midfield. If you have someone like Olise who you know has got the quality, it's your job to feed him, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other side, not for him to come and get it deeper than you.
That comes again with individual character and personality. There's times where you'd have centre-backs, where sometimes I want to drop in midfield and drop to get the ball off the centre-backs. And a good centre-back with a big personality will say, you, get up there, in not so nice, pleasant terms. It's my job to find you in that area there. And I'll be the same way in midfield. If I'm getting the ball and I know you're a creative player, I'll tell you, do one, get up there, I'll get you the ball. So even if it's simple round the corners, that's how you should be, and taking that character and that responsibility as an individual player. I can do this. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. If I can't do this, then I shouldn't be on the pitch. So it's my job in this area to get the ball. I will find you in there. And if you don't do your job, then you have to be held accountable. So I think for me, I agree with Troy there. Players like Olise and all those need to be in that final third. You need to find them in their pockets. There's no need for them to drop in the same position as a Chouameni or Rabiot to get the ball. To do what? To do the same 5-yard pass that they could have done.
I was just thinking as well. You hit your bet.
I did.
You hit your bet. Oh, you two said draw.
Draw.
Yeah, we had draw.
It's only us three that are the winners. Nige, you were good too, right?
Maybe you'll make it on the graphic.
I just want to know where that came from. That just came from
was
way
just
left
thinking-
for no reason.
I was
You asked me
thinking-
a question, you're thinking about something else.
Your goal scorer.
You're acting like
Are you
Poppy
new
right
here?
about now. I was thinking you think about something else.
No problem.
Did you win your bet? Yes.
No,
or
I did not. I
Okay,
just
that's
went
why
with
it's
Doué.
salted.
But I went
That
for a
makes sense.
French win, so...
Well, it doesn't count because it was
count,
a parlay. Kylian Mbappé ranked the highest for the French side. As for Senegal, they had a great first half. Let's start with them, I suppose. Nige, anything harsh to you from a Senegal's perspective?
I mean, it is a bit harsh. Overall,
Jackson is a bad one, the striker there, Nige.
Yeah, I don't
5.9.
That's a real tough one for me. I think Sarr had a good game, but overall, it's hard because when you reflect on that game, like Grella said there, it's just those little moments, those little missteps there will cause a problem. Overall, I think it's a performance for Senegal that you'd be okay with. There's a lot of positives you can take from that performance, considering you're facing the joint favourite of this World Cup. So I wouldn't say it's a performance where they were completely outplayed and dominated by France, because they had moments. That's why I think it's hard.
I think for me, this is where I'll always argue against a Sofa score in this. Again, I understand probably Nicholas Jackson, that's for offsides and things of that nature type stuff, but he also was very, in terms of influential in the game, kept France honest at the back, has the goal that's marginally offside.
Yeah.
Sarr and Mane were fantastic as well. But yeah, I don't think any of those scores reflect how well the Senegal players played. But then on the flip side to that, I don't think Mbappé was the best player on the pitch.
No.
But his goals
Because of the
didn't
goals.
make him that. Do you get what
100%.
I thought Olise was the most impactful. I thought he carried his
Upamecano
way
too.
through.
I would say
was great.
Rabiot as well. Rabiot in midfield had a decent game as well.
I'm saying Mbappé wasn't that much of a score above, but again, the way that they do with the analytics, the goals he gets, jumps him up so many
By
points.
the numbers, perfectly, not by any sort of eye test.
Yeah, that's why numbers do lie.
Oh, numbers
Kimmin,
don't
you have
lie.
an eternal feud with some of these ratings.
Yeah, it really.
I can tell.
really
Every
bothers me.
segment I see you do the ratings. You don't like stats.
Have you been on the Sofa Score show?
doesn't
Numbers
mind
don't lie.
stats.
No, and hopefully never will. So the more I talk bad about it, the less they're going to have me on it.
I don't think that's how it goes. I think the more
I
that you
think
talk
you're
bad
gonna
about
be
it,
on
the more
Numbers
you'll
Don't Lie
find yourself
soon.
on it.
Don't worry.
Who does that show?
Nico,
and
Chris?
JD and Chris.
Nico and
It's,
JD.
it's a rotating cast, which
Well,
means
clearly it is, because you had no clue who was on it. So that's why I'm not going on it.
so it's just watching Grella fiddle with the iPad. Have you figured it out,
He's
Grella?
doing numbers do lie.
Have you drawn any portraits of anybody on it, or are you actually going to talk about the football side of
Believe it or not, these guys are not moving for me right now.
it? You broke it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're sluggish, but we could still show it if we want to go to it. We could still show some of the movements and how France were able to pull apart the back line. Obviously, Senegal played in a more defensive position formation when they didn't have the football. So we'll take a look. Their back line looked like this. They played in a back four, actually quite brave against this front three to play only with the back four. A lot of teams you see go and play with five. And then they had their midfielders in here. We'll just draw them, and then they had one up top, right? So what they really did well with these two players,
sent off.
the two fullbacks. Yeah, it was another one here. Okay. What they do with these fullbacks here is they push them high and wide, really high and wide. So they're trying to get the ball beyond this player right here, beyond that left midfielder, and the same would happen on the other side. Now, remember their back line here. So their back line is here. So how do you pull this back line apart? If you're France, the way you pull this back line apart is we always talk about these two players right here never being on the same line. And what I mean is never being on this same line and never being in the same interior. So what would happen was Olise would come inside, which means he was able to go on the outside and go higher up and take that position there, right? So that's one part of it. If he was high and wide here, right, on the fullback, then he would come inside and sort of play here a little bit Pep Guardiola style, right? So that's how they were able to pull them apart. And the goal comes from, we lost the defender here. The goal comes from Olise. This combination happens, right? So this player is, Koundé comes up here and Olise is able to take this position inside like we just spoke about. And then there's this great little movement. Dembele, the number 7 here, was here, right? And they were both occupying the center backs. Now to create space is a simple movement as this. He came in here, and he took this defender out of the game, which left this space right here. There was a huge gap right here. And then Koulibaly took one half step, and Mbappé timed this run right, and he finished it here. That was how they were able to pull that back line apart. The second one, they get caught man for man. So Senegal gets caught like this. All the French players are back here, and the Senegalese players as well, and it was caught this way. And once they break, it was Barcola who made this fantastic run. He starts here. He runs inside. The other player runs outside. Again, Koulibaly thinks that he's taking on the central player. Once that central player moves Koulibaly a step, Barcola was able to go with his pace. And that's why we talk about the margins. It was just a step that made the difference and made Koulibaly look quite poor. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to move these next time. But that's just to give you a little bit of picture of what they did when they had the football, especially with their fullbacks and the relationship to their wingers.